people are being accused of crimes by machines. When we get to the point where police are done by Optimus robots, you're going to be walking down the street and a robot's going to pull out a gun and be like, do not resist. You are under arrest for bank fraud. And you're going to be like, what? And then,
hey guys, welcome back to the Future News Network. Today we're talking with Tim Pool all about flock cameras. They're doing terrible things. They're getting people arrested for all the wrong reasons. Oftentimes not even the right people are being arrested for crimes they did not commit. It's absolutely travesty. It's a travesty. It's terrible. We don't want to see it. We're going to talk all about it. If you like my stuff, please hit me with a like and subscribe, and we're going to see what Tim Pool has to say about these flock cameras.
we got reports that truck drivers are ramming flock safety cameras, and there's more and more videos popping up of these things being knocked to the ground. For those that aren't familiar with the flock safety camera controversy, these are cameras that read your license plate. We've here at Timcast, we've had security consultants say, like, you guys should install these things in and around the property. You know, back in December, we had someone drive by and open fire on our studio buildings.
Well, we heard about that forever. A lot of people thought that was not true. A lot of people thought that that was just him farming controversy. It's possible. I tend to believe him. He's been doing a lot of work for a long time, saying a lot of controversial stuff. It's very much possible that it's completely true.
And so immediately they said, you guys got to put in these flock cameras that they're going to track the license plates, or I don't know if it was actually flock cameras specifically.
Probably not flock cameras specifically, because flock cameras are made by the government and different states and agencies. I don't believe you could buy your own flock camera. I think the database that they have is interconnected amongst all the states and whatnot. You could probably get a camera good enough to recognize the license plate and then do your own work to figure it out, but you cannot buy a flock camera.
But they basically said you want these automatic license plate readers so that you know exactly. And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I get it. We're in the middle of nowhere, so if a car drives by. But people are pissed off because, well, it's mass AI surveillance. And you may be wondering, what's the problem? If I have nothing to hide, then why should I care if there are cameras? I mean, let's be real. There's cameras everywhere already. What's the problem with these?
How much of life is already like that? You know, you give up your privacy every time you go on your phone. Everybody's on the phone. It's happening all the time. What's just one more logical step?
A few high-profile stories, to be exact. People being wrongly accused of crimes, arrested and driven across the country because these wackaloon AI systems are accusing innocent people of being other people, and then they get arrested because the cops don't care. And therein lies the big problem.
Cops will arrest you if they are told that you've done a crime, and then they just let court figure it out. That's the problem with police in a lot of ways, is they're disconnected from the actual sense of justice. There's not much of a sense of justice that's embedded within the police officer. It's more like, my boss told me to do this, even if it's not right. How many times you go to court and they just throw things out? Cops just do their job.
You get into AI law enforcement, which is what's now happening. Listen, there's a cop. His boss says, we have a warrant for the arrest of John Doe. He goes, okay. Shows up to John Doe's house, knocks on the door and says, you're being criminally charged with, stealing, like ramming a mailbox or something. And the guy's like, what? When? And it's like, well, we have a car registered in your name. It's you. And the guy's going to be like, bro, that's the other side of the country. How could I have possibly even gotten there? And then the cops are just like, I don't know. Not my job to find out.
Pleaded in court. That's what cops say. That's what cops do. They'll just say pleaded in court. They're not going to contradict their arrest. They won't do it. That's unfortunate. They have no discretion. They're not allowed to have discretion, which is a big problem. I mean, we got the body cam footage and all that stuff's exposed a lot of things, and it probably shows some of the corruption that's going on and whatnot, but it also shows the nature of how many criminals act as well. It defends them, but it also leaves them in a position where they can't use their own discretion when arresting or not arresting a suspect.
You're under arrest. This actually happened. There's some old lady, they come to her house and they were like, I can't remember the exact story, but it was like she lived in South Carolina. Cop shows up and says, we're arresting you because you're wanted. You have a warrant in South Dakota or something like that. And she's like, I've never been there. And they're like, yeah, too bad. Because I'm a person and my boss told me to arrest you. I don't care what you say. See, the problem is you get like some criminal.
I don't think you should arrest little old ladies most of the time. Anyways, even if they did commit, maybe they got a fender bender. I saw this footage of this lady getting in a fender bender, and then they show up to her house, gave her a hit and run. You know, of course you gotta report the damage, go through the insurance and whatnot. But you know, let's be nice to our elderly. You can see it shows a lot how society treats itself by how it treats the elderly.
Cop goes to his house and says, "We got a warrant for your arrest because you punched some lady." And he goes, "No, I didn't." "Yeah, well, tell it to a judge, right?" These cops are no nonsense. They're going to be like, "Listen, my boss tells me to do it, I do it." In one instance, there was a woman. This is a big story. She was accused of being a porch pirate, and some AI camera, I think it was a flock camera, claimed that a truck had her license plate. It did not. It was wrong. Cops show up and say, "You have a summons for stealing a package." And she's like, "I've never even been to this place." And she goes, "I can prove it. I have video right here." And the cop goes, "Don't know, don't care."
It's what they do. They just go, they have their marching orders, go arrest this person. They have a warrant and they fulfill it. And then it's on you to deal with it in court, which is wrong. It's wrong. The cops should be able to have discretion.
Here's a scary reality. When law enforcement becomes AI bureaucracy, you will never get an arresting officer that's going to care, because it is not the job of the arresting officer to actually review evidence. Now, if we had human beings actually trying to do the core of their job, which is to have accountability, imagine a cop shows up and says, "Man, here's a summons. Here's what it says." And she goes, No, hold on. I have video evidence proving I wasn't there." The cop could say, "Show me the proof." She then shows him video, shows
They're cops. They're not judges. They're not allowed to judge on the merits of it. They follow their warrants.
receipt, and he says, "Okay, she's just shown me something that clearly means this is not correct. I'm going to go back and I'm going to let them know. Can I take a picture? Send me the video. Here's my email address. Take a picture of your receipt. Send it to me. I'm going to bring it back, and then we're going to get to the bottom of this." That's how a human being does it. Because in the event that person fabricates evidence, the cop could just be like, "I'm going to go back and double check this." They go back and they say, "No, we still don't think this is right. Here's why. That receipt is fake," or otherwise. Then they can go to a court and say, here's our challenge. Either way, think about the reality we live in, where you have to try and prove your innocence when an AI camera system accuses you of a crime you did not commit.
You're guilty before proven innocent. It's not innocent before proven guilty. Don't you know? It's all been switched. It's upside down world. It's Orwellian.
There's no witness. So I'm going to put it like this. I don't think these things should be admissible in court in any capacity because they're not witnesses. It's one thing to have a video and a human being says, "I watched a video that appears to show the defendant. Here's the truck. Here's a license plate." Okay. It's another thing if a computer says, "This is the person." No, hold on. That's not determinable by a machine. That person can't be a witness to a crime accusing someone of a crime, right?
Well, you could argue the same thing with tolls or any video footage in a way. I mean, it's kind of it's surveillance that's done wrong. It's taking the human element of reviewing the footage out of it. When you go through a toll booth, they take your license plate, they send you a bill. Maybe you don't have the bill on address, and then it starts piling up money. You could even argue that tolls in and of themselves with license plate readers are an infringement on your personal property and your life. I believe so.
So if the cops come to you and they say, "Hey, this thing's accusing you of a crime," you should be able to say, "Who is accusing me? I have a constitutional right to confront my accuser." And they're going to go, "Well, it's a robot." Oh, okay, so there's no accuser? Only humans should be allowed to accuse people of crimes. So take a look at this story from Gadget Review. Unverified Ohio reports describe trucks and bats destroying flock plate reader cameras amid growing U.S. pushback over warrantless vehicle tracking. So we've got this video from Shadow of Ezra. Let's roll the tape. We may make it a little bigger for you. Will it roll the tape? Let's try rolling the tape on X.
Authorities say since July 8th, flock safety cameras in the city of Ashland and Ashland County have been the targets of vandals. In some cases, the flock camera poles were hit by a car or truck, and in others, the equipment was struck by what authorities believe is a baseball bat or club.
Real patriotism right there. I mean, you got to fight against this stuff, guys. I mean, I can't condone it, obviously, because it's illegal, but I'm not going to cry about it either. I like when people do this stuff.
The victims of the vandalism are the taxpayers who pay for the cameras.
They're the public's cameras. You know, we've had some tax dollars
Did the public decide to put up the cameras? I doubt it.
that have been put to use for these things. I think overwhelmingly the general public would like to have a safe community, and these cameras are a piece of that.
The general public does not want these cameras. Come on. You can't truly believe that.
The Ashland County Sheriff says the vandalism is part of a trend across the country, and he believes it is based on misinformation.
People have this perception that these cameras are out there tracking them all over the place and all this other nonsense, and that's simply not true.
Are they not tracking people all over the place and whatever that other nonsense you're talking about?
They take pictures of license plates, and then we read the license plates based on the data that we input. If we're looking for a specific plate, we look for the plate. Or if there's a wanted person attached to it, or if there's a missing person attached to it, or somebody that's in harm's way, you know, we look for that data.
Investigators say, ironically, they are using the flock safety cameras in their effort to identify those who have been damaging the cameras.
So they leave from damaging our camera and drive by another one that maybe they didn't know about, or go to another county or whatever. So, you know, yes, I mean, it's very possible that flock cameras could help.
So maybe this is a little bit of a honeypot situation where you want to get rid of all your rebels. I mean, you put these things out there for a certain amount of time, and then you collect anybody who would have a problem with this. You do this over a long period of time, everybody's going to not go after these cameras because they're going to get arrested.
Let's catch the individuals responsible for damaging our own cameras.
Once the vandals are brought to justice, authorities intend to seek restitution to repair or replace the cameras that have a value of up to $3,500 per unit.
Now that they've been damaged and down, what are we missing? How many people are coming through that may have been missing or that have been wanted? Victims need their justice. And now that those cameras are not there to help us, you know, how many people slip through the cracks?
I would like to see the data on what they're collecting. Are they collecting speeders? Are they collecting people who run a stop sign? Are they catching bad guys? All the big bad guys out there, are they getting caught with flock cameras? I want to see evidence of that, because I would believe that it's mostly just warranting for whatever small little crime is committed in a traffic violation.
To help you guys. Nah, sorry, man. I'm not playing these games, okay? These are AI cameras that are tracking license plates. Now, there's an argument that you have a right to... So first, we have a right to privacy. That's a fact. However, it has to be that there's an expectation of privacy. So if you are in your home and you open your curtains, you lose your expectation of privacy. If you are in your home and your curtains are closed, you have an expectation of privacy. If you walk outside your house, this is where it gets interesting. If you walk outside your house and a police officer is sitting there and he watches you walk out of your house and then walk into a bank, you have no expectation of privacy. He watched you walk into public. Now, if you walk out of your house wearing a mask, you do. So this has come up.
You do what? Have an expectation of privacy? What was the point there? I didn't gather what he was trying to say.
In facial recognition cases where an individual put on a mask and then they were able to identify a person and they said, hey, wait, you can't stop me and make me take my mask off or track me in public because I have an expectation of privacy. And this actually came up as it pertains to IP data tracking.
I'd imagine out in public, you can do such a thing, but you could go into an institution like a bank wearing a mask and they can say, we don't allow masks in the bank, to just bring it back to his analogy.
So the Obama administration got in trouble for this. They were taking metadata, which is not what you're looking at online or the message you're sending, just where information is traveling to and from. And the argument they made was that if you were to walk from your house to the grocery store, a cop can watch you do it and know you did it and compile that in a database because you have no expectation of privacy. When you put a mask on, the cop cannot track that because you wore a mask so that no one would know it was you doing it, and thus they can't. The argument they were making was that when you go to a website, you have no expectation of privacy. It'd be like walking outside without a mask on.
Internet privacy is a thing of the past. I mean, there's obviously some things that you can do to take care of it, but does anybody really go on the internet expecting everything that they do to be private?
But most Americans don't agree. They believe that when you go to a website, nobody is tracking that. And so
I don't believe that most people believe that.
They did not realize they needed a mask, and thus VPN started sponsoring all the different YouTubers.
I will have a VPN sponsor very soon, and it is very important that you get the one that I decide is the right one to buy.
I want to show you why AI law enforcement is bad. Now, I'm not going to condemn or condone the vigilantism pertaining to these flock cameras. The challenge is, one, I don't like the vandalism. It's not the way to go about things, smashing things and knocking them down. At the same time, they are building a system of abject evil, in my opinion.
They're expanding the surveillance state. They're not I mean, it's just one more thing in a long line of interferences that they've been doing for pretty much since the Patriot Act. And you could even go farther back than that.
This idea that they're going to, it's one thing to say, I saw you in public, your license plate is publicly visible, but they're making you wear your ID when you drive your car around, which I understand because we don't want cars, hit and runs and all these things. But now we're putting you in a database 24/7 with these AI cameras. We're always going to know where you are and what you were doing. And that's just
all transactions will be known.
Bridge too far. But take a look at this story. This is what I was talking about. Tennessee grandmother jailed after AI facial recognition error links her to fraud. Yeah. Angela Lips spent nearly 6 months in jail after Fargo police identified her as a suspect in an organized bank fraud case using facial recognition software. Lips told the outlet she had never been to North Dakota, it was North Dakota, and did not commit the crimes. She's a mother of 3 and
Angela Lips? She must have had a hard time in high school. Oh my God, the jokes that were said about her, I can't even imagine.
A grandmother of 5. She's lived most of her life in north central Tennessee. In July, U.S. Marshals arrested Lips at her Tennessee home while she was babysitting 4 children. She said she was taken away at gunpoint and booked into a county jail as a fugitive from justice from North Dakota. I've never been to North Dakota. I don't know anyone from North Dakota. She remained in a Tennessee jail for nearly 4 months without bail, awaiting extradition. She was charged with 4 counts of unauthorized use of personal identifying information and 4 counts of theft. According to Fargo police records, detectives investigating bank fraud cases in April reviewed surveillance video of a woman using a fake U.S. Army military ID to withdraw tens of thousands of dollars. The officers allegedly used facial recognition software to identify the suspect as Lips. A detective reportedly wrote in court documents that Lips appeared to match the suspect based on facial features, body type, and hairstyle.
They matched her lips to Lips.
Lips told WDAY News no one from the Fargo Police Department contacted her before her arrest. Authorities in North Dakota did not transport Lips from Tennessee until the end of October, 108 days after her arrest, according to Inforum. She appeared in a North Dakota courtroom the next day. Her attorney, Jay Greenwood, told the outlet, if the only thing you have is facial recognition, I might want to dig a little deeper.
Read my lips. Lips did not do this crime. And these lips cannot prosecute these lips. You know? You know what I'm saying?
Lips was later released on Christmas Eve after Greenwood obtained her bank records and presented them to investigators. The records showed Lips was more than 1,200 miles away in Tennessee at the time the investigators said the fraud occurred in Fargo. But Lips said Fargo police did not pay for her trip home, leaving her stranded.
This is going to end up costing them lots of money. You think $3,500 is bad? Wait till you falsely arrest people for this and they sue you. Then you're going to have $1 million lawsuit that you're going to pay out. Is that good for the public? Is the public going to be happy to pay out people who get falsely arrested? I don't think so.
Defense attorneys helped cover a hotel room and food on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and a local nonprofit, the F5 Project, was able to help her return to Tennessee. She's now back at home, but says there's been lasting consequences. She was unable to pay her bills. She lost her home. She lost her car and her dog. She also told WDAY News no one from Fargo Police Department has apologized. This is far from the first case of, it may not be malicious prosecution, but they should have to pay her $1 million. That's
what I'm saying. You're gonna end up having to pay these people out. This system, it's not good enough. Maybe it'll get better, but it's only going to get better if they keep doing it. And if they keep doing it, the wrong people are going to keep getting arrested.
Some insane amount. This is crazy. They're going to say, earlier this year, police arrested a man in the UK for a burglary in a city he had never visited after face scanning software confused him with another person of South Asian heritage. Authorities had used automated facial recognition software, which matched him with footage of a suspect in a 3,000-pound burglary 100 miles away. This is the point. What's going to happen, and what has already happened, is that innocent people are being accused of crimes by machines.
Super Terminator stuff going on out here.
When we get to the point where police are done by Optimus robots, you're going to be walking down the street and a robot's going to pull out a gun and be like, do not resist. You are under arrest for bank fraud. And you're going to be like, what? And then it's going to,
Then I'm going to recognize the code of the T600 and say it's deactivation code, because I'm going to be on the inside. I'm going to figure out the codes, never get arrested by one of those things.
You're going to get surrounded. You're going to go. They actually made a movie about this where a guy goes to jail and the AI is like, your appeal has been denied. And everything's automated. He finally gets money for a
It's like Idiocracy. You ever see that scene? Maybe I'll throw that in at the end.
lawyer, and the lawyer's like, just plead guilty, and then hangs up. And he's like, what am I supposed to do? This is the world that's being built. Welcome to the dystopian nightmare, my friends. Things aren't going to get pretty. We don't got the people for it. And to be honest, the people don't want to do the jobs anyway. The cop shows up and says, I don't care. It's not my job.
Cops don't go in. People don't go get into law enforcement for the right reasons anymore. They do it for the money. It's a great pension in any state. Choose any state. You'll get 60 to 100, maybe sometimes even up to 150 grand a year after you retire. You do 20 years, you're basically a millionaire by the time you retire. Incredible stuff.
To review evidence to determine whether or not you're innocent or guilty. That's a judge's job. So what happens when a machine accuses you of a crime and a cop shows up and says you're under arrest?
What happens when the judge becomes an automated person as well, or the robo judge? We want robo judge. This is how you get robo judged.
Do you just say, okay, welcome to techno dystopia, my friends, where it's one thing. It's one thing, I'll tell you this. When a police officer says you are being arrested, you don't resist. You deal with it. It's another thing when a machine falsely accuses of a crime and there's no one who is going to do anything. They're just going to lock you up and throw away the key.
That's right. You got to crack the clankers. Crack the clankers.
At which point, the question for you in the comments, do you just obey the machine? Good look out there, my friends. We got more coming.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for this one. What do you think? Surveillance state on the rise as per usual. Gotta love it. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's going to make us more safe? Do you think we're going to be nice and safe? The more surveillance we get, it's going to fix all these problems. Are you ready for the robo judge? Are you ready for the robo cop? Stick them up. Stick them up. You going to be able to deal with that? I don't know. You let me know down in the comments. This has been Future News Network. If you enjoy my stuff, please hit me with a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.